Assalamu alaikum students. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the construction and working of human eye. Today, I am going to teach you about the function of iris and pupil, two important parts of human eye. Yesterday, I told you that iris controls the amount of light entering the eye. This iris is a color diaphragm present in our eye, and in the middle of this iris is a hole that's called pupil. It appears black to us because no light is reflected from this pupil. So, this iris controls the amount of light entering the eye. It automatically adjusts the size of the pupil according to the intensity of light received by the eye. If the amount of light received by the eye is large, outside light is large during daytime, then iris contracts the size of the pupil, makes the pupil small, and reduces the amount of light entering the eye. It means less light will enter the eye. On the other hand, if the amount of light received by the eye is small, as in dark room, or you can say during night, then iris expands the pupil, makes the pupil large so that more light enters the eye. It means iris regulates the amount of light entering the eye by changing the size of the pupil. This iris makes the pupil contract, makes the pupil expand according to the intensity of light around the eye. If the intensity of outside light is low, dim, pupil expands to allow more light to enter the eye. On the other hand, if the intensity of outside light is high, then the pupil contracts so that less light enters the eye. Here, in this adjustment of the size of the pupil takes some time. For instance, when we go from a bright light into a darkened room, say darkened cinema hall, at first we cannot see our surroundings clearly. But after a short time, our vision improves and we can see the persons, things around us. This is due to the fact that in bright sunlight, the pupil of our eye is small. So when we enter the darkened cinema hall, very little light enters our eye and we cannot see properly. But after a short time, pupil of our eye expands and becomes large, and more light enters our eye and we can see clearly. Same happens when we go from dark room into a bright sunlight. We are in a dark room, then we go from a dark room into a bright sunlight, or we switch on a bright lamp. Then we feel the glare in our eyes, and this is due to the fact that in a dark room the pupil of our eye is large. So when we go from a dark room into a bright sunlight, or when we switch on a bright lamp, large amount of light enters the eye and we see the glare. Gradually, this pupil of our eye contracts. Less light enters our eye and we can see clearly. In this way, you can see iris also protects our eyes from the glare of bright lights. This is a function of iris. It controls the size of the pupil as per the intensity of light entering the eyes. When outside light is bright, pupil becomes small so that less light goes into the eye, and during this adjustment it takes some time. That is why we are not able to see things clearly at first instance, but after some short time our vision improves. Same happens when we enter from a bright sunlight into a dark room, or when outside light is dim, pupil becomes large so that more light enters the eye, and again during this adjustment it takes some time. That is why at first instance we are not able to see things clearly, but then gradually the vision improves. Now, in the previous lecture we also have gone through rods and cones, important light sensitive cells present in the retina, the screen on which image is obtained. The retina of our eye has large number of light sensitive cells. These are called rods and cones. Now, rods. These light sensitive cells are rod shaped. Rod shaped cells in the retina of our eye, and these are sensitive to dim light. These are most important for vision in dim light. You can say during night. We can see things to some extent in a dark room or in the darkness of night. It's because of the presence of these rod shaped cells, these rod cells in the retina of our eyes. And because of these cells, we are able to see even in a dark room, even in the darkness of night. Nocturnal animals which sleep during the day and come out at night, like owl, have a large number of rod cells. Nocturnal animals have large number of rod cells. And due to the presence of these large number of rod cells in them, they are able to see in the night. Their night vision is very much better than ours. We are having relatively smaller number of rod cells in the retina of our eyes, and these rod cells of the retina, with the help of these rod shaped cells in the retina, we are able to see at night, even in dim light, even in the darkness. And nocturnal animals are able to see in night, during night, because of these rod shaped cells. There are various number of, even relatively very large number of cells in nocturnal animals as compared to us. We are having less number of rod shaped cells. Then cones, cone shaped cells. I told you about rods. These are rod shaped cells and they are sensitive to dim light. They do not provide any information about the color of the object. But these cones, these are cone shaped cells in the retina of an eye, and these are sensitive to bright light. These are sensitive to bright light, you can say normal light, and also respond to colors. You can say these cone cells cause the sensation of color of object in our eyes. We are able to recognize colors. We are able to have sensation of colors of objects is because of these cone shaped cells. These cause the sensation of color of object in our eyes. These cone shaped cells make us see colors and also make us distinguish between various colors. It means you are able to distinguish between colors because of these cone shaped cells present in the retina. These cone shaped cells function only in bright light. These do not function in dim light because rod cells are sensitive to dim light. These are not sensitive to dim light, so they do not function in dim light. It means when it's getting dark at night, it's not possible to recognize colors because cone shaped cells do not get activated, do not function in dim light. They function only in bright light. It means only in bright light you are able to distinguish between colors, you are able to have sensation of colors. But at night, whenever it's dark, it becomes impossible to see colors. In fact, when you go outside on the road during night, it's not possible to see colors of cars on the road. It's because these cones do not respond in dim light, they only respond in bright light. You are able to distinguish between colors only in bright light. It was all about the function of iris and pupil. In the next lecture, we'll discuss about the accommodation and the defects of vision. Thank you.